Miller, thank you so much for being here.
Do we have slides? There we go. Thank you so much, everyone. I am Merida, and yes, I am now the founder of Project Fearless here in Amsterdam. I've been lucky in my life to have a couple great resets, like the time I had to switch majors from zoologist to fashion designer due to my uncanny ability to faint anytime there was a dissection, or the time I decided to quit the safety net of my corporate job and launch a nonprofit working with young children of which I had no experience in a country I didn't speak the language. Today, we are going to speak about the latter. In 2017, I had been and was the advanced concept designer of the innovation team at Under Armour. A very sexy, very long title, of which I often said and was met with, "Your parents must be so proud. That's so cool." And they were, and it was. But after 7.5 years, I often left feeling a lot like this girl in the backseat of a car, which she had no control over. The truth is, by the end of 2017, I'd hit a wall. I was unfulfilled, emotionally empty, and I knew this wasn't the place for me. This career I was building wasn't where I was meant to be. So it was time for action. So I spent the first 6 months of 2018 emotionally and physically exhausting myself, searching for my what's next, rushing to interviews in different career fields, getting so excited, thinking, oh yes, this is it, only to walk out of the interview crestfallen knowing, yeah, that's not it. I was going to networking events and inspirational talks and going to workshops to launch your next business idea. And at one of these workshops, I was sat very sad, clearly very lost, when one of the facilitators asked, "What do you want to do?" And I paused, and through that little buzzing sensation in your nose when you're about to cry, I said, "I just want to help others and be happy." Those words are really heavy to me back then, and I'm so thankful I spoke my truth, because the facilitator followed with the goal, if your goal is to help others, you must first help yourself. What do you need? It was like a light bulb that went off. In that moment, I knew that in order to make the best impact, I needed to go back to when I was the best Merida. I thought back to a time in my life when I truly felt me. It was when I was working as an adaptive snowboard instructor for those with disabilities. And through that memory, I realized 3 very important things were happening all at once. My Venn diagram. The first is, which any Project Fearless girl will tell you, I have to be the #1 hype girl. I will share this title, but I will cheer, scream, and yell and give you the best pep talk you ever heard. When I'm in the action working with my hands, I love building, breaking, and learning through doing. And when I'm creating an impact, that is a ripple effect. So when I go to impact somebody else, I know they're going to go impact somebody. They're going to pass that impact on. So at this point, I had my pillars. I knew who I needed to be, but what was I going to do? Luckily, throughout my tumultuous roller coaster of 2018, it turns out I was actually researching. I heard over and over again women saying things like, but I'm scared to do X, what if I fail? Or I'm not good at speaking up, or I don't fit this leadership mold. And I realized with all this work that was for women at the top and trying to close the gender gap, which is great, still needs to be done, nobody's working at the root. Who was giving girls the tools to succeed on their own terms from the early stages of their life? So my mission became, knowing what we know now, imagine how we'd talk to girls if we could start again. But before we talk about Project Fearless, I want to talk about your reset and 3 hot tips to help you get started on your journey. The first is do the work. I think every single woman spoke about the work tonight, and the work is different for everybody. But you need to work on, find your work. Sorry, find your why. Find what makes you tick, but also find out what you don't like to do. I cannot recommend this book more highly. Whether you're in need of a rest, a reset, or a recalibration of your current situation, this book will help you. But you need to do the work. Break out the pencils, the Post-it notes, start writing, remembering, ask yourself the hard and the easy questions. You never know what you're going to come out with. You may come out with the Ikagi circles, you may come out with a compass, you may come out with a Venn diagram, but first you must do the work. Next is owning your story. There's a big difference between telling your story and owning your story. When I first quit my job, and Project Fearless didn't even have a name, I used to say things like, yeah, I'm going to create the space where girls are going to come together, maybe just building, breaking stereotypes, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, confidence building. And people would look at me like, you're gonna do what? You've quit your job for what? So I realized I had needed to change that. And it became, I am creating a space that when a girl walks through our doors, she can shed who she thinks or has been told she needs to be, and instead discover herself on her own terms. Mic drop. And lastly, show of hands, who has trouble asking for help? Okay, come on, please, just come on, okay. So this was a huge roadblock for me. And as a founder of a startup nonprofit, I have to ask a lot of things of a lot of people. Some of those are in the room right now. Well, I was fortunate enough at the very early stages of the brainstorming around Project Fearless, I was talking to my good friend Steph, who is also a mindset coach, and she said, imagine if you were to receive what you were asking for. Imagine the one girl it would benefit. Now imagine she goes on to empower another girl. Now imagine you get the next resource and the next one. How many more girls can you impact? Imagine all of these girls, that's what you're asking for. So now, when I ask for time, money, or something else, I know I'm not Merida Miller asking for help. I am just one fearless leader asking on behalf of a million other future fearless leaders. In 2019, I launched Project Fearless. Through our after-school programs, we support girls through the formative years, giving them confidence and tools that they can take forward in all aspects of their life. Through our programs, we grow resilience, tackle perfectionism, and build confidence. 3 things we know that can directly impact a girl's future. Between the ages of 12 and 13, the percentage of girls who say they're not allowed to fail increases by 150%. So how do we flip that switch? Quite simply, we practice failing. We fall a lot, we talk openly about it, we celebrate our mistakes, and know every time we fall, flip, slip, and get back up, it's all part of the process of our building our resilience and our ability to get back up no matter what. Oh, wait, surprise. More than half of teen girls feel the pressure to be perfect. And how many of you, as adults, can relate to this? Thank you. So to tackle perfectionism, we focus on a growth mindset. We track our progress, and we add one simple word to our vocabulary on a daily basis, yet. By saying yet to something, we automatically open doors to what's next. When someone says, I can't skateboard, it's like a big steel door closing down. But when someone says, I can't do blank yet, we've left open the room for a million possibilities of how we're going to learn to skateboard, learn how to draw, or how to save the planet from climate change. Between the ages of 8 and 14, girls' confidence drops by 30%. Imagine how different your life would have been if you'd grown up knowing you were enough.
1,
Oh,
2,
there's some sounds.
3,
We teach our girls to take up space. We encourage her to believe in herself, her body, and know in her mind she is enough, just as she is. My goal is to set up the next generation of fearless leaders, not to avoid their reset, but to know whatever life throws at them, wherever they are in their roller coaster, they can handle it, and not only that, they will grow from it. And to be honest, this probably isn't my last reset either, which is why I'm going to give my future self, and you, 3 more tips. Yes, it's my favorite number, of how to go forward into the unknown. One of my favorite things to say when life is going a little topsy-turvy is, well, this is an adventure. Sometimes it's through grit teeth, and sometimes it's through a smile. Every step of the way, it will feel weird and new, and that can be exhausting. And there are some days where I just don't want to learn anymore. But just like the work that we do with our girls, I work on growth mindset myself, and I try to practice what I preach. And therefore, I've learned to always be comfortable in the testing phase. Don't get me wrong, as I mentioned, it's exhausting. But by saying, this is an adventure, I can laugh, cry from every new experience, and most importantly, grow. Pace yourself. My coaches are looking at me like, mm-hmm. Speaking of practicing what I preach, this one I don't do well yet. When you do find what you love, it's going to be so exciting, you're probably going to throw all of yourself into it because, oh my gosh, it's here. But I need to tell you one thing. Confucius was a liar. Just because you love what you do and you found exactly where you're meant to be doesn't mean it's going to be sunshine and roses at all times. To be honest, it's probably going to be more exhausting because it's all of you into the world. And how could you possibly stop now? I know I've often found myself thinking, it's just one last email, it's one more lesson plan, but it's so important to remind yourself to pace, even if you love what you do. Maybe more if you love what you do. It's important to find something you love on the side, whether that's cycling or learning how to skateboard as a 32-year-old. Whatever it is, find time and make time for it. And remind yourself, you and your business will grow and benefit from taking a break. And thirdly, use your parachute. Nothing is final. If you get to your next reset and think, that ain't it, that's okay. You can go back and start again. But stick to your pillars. Stick to your truth and what you know of yourself. There we go. I promise you, you got it. So yes, although this may not be my last reset, and certainly not my last adventure, I know with 100%, without a doubt, that I'm exactly where I need to be. I know I'm the best at what I do. And this is not a humble brag. This is me owning my story. And I hope it empowers you to do the same. And one last thing. I hope you've been taking notes. Something I've learned over the years is, like leadership or success, fearlessness means something different to everyone. Some of the girls say, it means doing something when you're not scared, or it means that you can be yourself and others will be good at other things. And the truth is there's no definition too big or too small, but whatever your definition is, own it, live it. So team, turn to your neighbor, give them a high five, and go live fearlessly.